For years, trained Las Vegas casino staff handled chips worth millions without questioning their authenticity. They checked the weight, the color, the texture. Every chip passed. Every single one was fake. $3.2 million in precision counterfeits were manufactured by one man using jewelry equipment, Keshishyan, known as the jeweler. No surveillance caught him, no cashier flagged him. The scheme collapsed not because anyone spotted a fake, but because a routine cage audit found a number that did not add up. It exposed a flaw the entire industry refused to believe existed. Las Vegas casinos once treated their chips as untouchable currency, protected by nothing more than the human eye, a visual check, and a practiced touch. Every table, every cage, every exchange relied on staff trained to spot the obvious. A chip that felt too light, a color that looked just a shade off, an edge spot that did not line up with the master reference card. UV marks glowed under blacklight. Edge patterns were compared by hand, and security guides listed every shade and font. But beneath the surface, the system was fragile. Chips moved through the casino ecosystem as physical objects, authenticated by a glance, a tap, or a quick rub between the fingers. The most advanced safeguard was a laminated card in the pit boss's pocket, showing what the real chips should look like under the lights. Dealers worked at speed, handling stacks worth tens of thousands in a single shift, trusting their senses to catch anything out of place. Yet the tolerances were human, fraction of a gram, subtle differences in gloss, or the way a chip sounded when tossed onto the felt. For years, this was enough. The industry believed that only crude forgeries, too light, too rough, too dull, could slip through. The idea that a counterfeit could match every detail, from weight to color to the unique metallic ping, seemed impossible. The absence of electronic verification was not a gap. It was the standard. In this world, the right set of hands and the right set of tools could turn a structural weakness into a multi-million-dollar opportunity. Keshishyan moved through Las Vegas with the quiet confidence of a craftsman, not a criminal. To most, he was the jeweler, a man whose hands shaped gold and platinum into flawless rings, whose storefront gleamed with polished stones and custom settings. But behind the glass cases, his real tools told a different story. Precision lathes capable of shaving metal to a fraction of a millimeter. Micro-engraving rigs that could etch serial numbers invisible to the naked eye. Digital scales sensitive enough to register the difference between a genuine casino chip and a forgery, down to a single grain of sand. Every piece of equipment in Ara's workshop served a double purpose. What could cut a flawless wedding band could just as easily carve the edge profile of a $100 chip. The same laser that marked a gemstone's authenticity could burn a casino's logo into polymer, line for line. In the world of fine jewelry, perfection is not a luxury. It is the standard. Tolerances are measured in microns. Colors are matched by spectrometer. A jeweler learns to make objects that fool the eye and the hand, that pass as genuine under the closest scrutiny. Ara's reputation for detail bordered on obsession. He tested weight on analytical balances, polished surfaces until they caught the same light as a factory-fresh chip. His workshop, tucked away from the strip, was a fortress of high-tolerance machinery and quiet discipline. To outsiders, he was just another artisan running a small business. But in the silence of his back room, the jeweler was assembling something no casino expected, a counterfeiter's arsenal built from the same tools that made him respectable. The threat was not a brute with a bag of fakes. It was a craftsman who understood exactly how to make the perfect bobby, and who knew that in a city built on illusion, the right hands could turn skill into fortune. Precision wasn't a byproduct of Keshishyan's plan. It was the plan. The jeweler engineered a manufacturing process that stripped away every weakness casinos expected from a fake. Each counterfeit casino chip started as a digital scan of the real thing, mapped in 3 dimensions down to the micron. Computer-aided design modeling produced virtual blueprints that mirrored the exact rim angles, edge spots, and even the subtle indentation of the denomination window. From there, the process moved to vacuum casting, a hallmark of high-end jewelry work, where molten alloy was poured into CNC milled molds. These molds, cut to tolerances below 0.05 grams, guaranteed that every chip landed within the razor-thin weight window that casinos used as their gold standard. Surface gloss was no accident. The chips were electroplated and polished to a mirror finish, then checked with a gloss meter until they reflected light at nearly 92 gloss units, indistinguishable from authentic stock. Color matching wasn't left to the naked eye. Each pigment was measured by spectrometer, ensuring a visual match so tight that even under ultraviolet inspection, the difference fell below the threshold for human detection. Engraving came last, with a fiber laser burning serial numbers, logos, and micro patterns at a depth of 45 microns, the same spec used by top chip manufacturers. Quality control was relentless. Each batch faced X-ray fluorescence analysis, confirming the alloy's density matched the original to within 0.03 grams per cubic centimeter. The final test was acoustic, a single tap on a wooden block, listening for the metallic ping that signaled a perfect core. If a chip failed any checkpoint, it was destroyed. The result? Precision counterfeit casino chips manufactured using jewelry equipment, passing every visual, tactile, and even auditory test the industry could throw at them. The only question left: how would they be slipped into the system without a trace? Across Las Vegas, the counterfeit chips did not flood casino floors. They slipped in, one quiet transaction at a time. Keshishyan's operation ran on patience and discipline. Each cash out was capped below $20,000, a deliberate move to dodge the currency transaction reports that trigger extra scrutiny under the Bank Secrecy Act. The jeweler and his unnamed partners rotated properties, never hitting the same cage twice in a row, and never drawing attention with oversized stacks or sudden windfalls. Over 4 years, the FBI chip movement log recorded 127 separate cash outs, each one ranging from $5,000 to $18,000, spread across 6 major casinos. The average interval was 14 days. No single property saw a pattern. No teller handled enough volume to raise an eyebrow. The team moved with clockwork precision, timing exchanges to coincide with peak cage traffic and avoiding the nightly reconciliation runs designed to catch large ticket transactions. By keeping every payout under the radar, they sidestepped both internal casino alerts and the automated variance checks that flag unusual activity. Each batch of chips passed through the same tactile inspection that had always separated real from fake. But these were not crude knockoffs. They matched the weight, color, and acoustic ping of the originals, blending seamlessly into the daily flow of casino currency. For frontline staff, every exchange looked routine. For the operation, each small win built toward a haul that would eventually total over $3 million. The drip feed approach bought years of invisibility. pushing the system's blind spot to its breaking point. Every casino on the Strip trusted its frontline, the dealers, cage tellers, and pit bosses trained to spot a fake by sight and touch. In theory, nothing slipped past these hands. In reality, the system was stretched to its breaking point. Shifts ran long. Cashier windows cycled through thousands of chips a night. Under fluorescent lights, after hours of repetition, even the sharpest eyes blurred. Staff relied on quick heuristics, a chip that felt right, stacked evenly, flashed the correct color band. Anything that passed these sensory shortcuts was waved through. The counterfeit chips manufactured by Keshishyan didn't just look the part, they passed visual and tactile inspection by trained casino staff. Weight, gloss, edge pattern, the metallic ping when tapped. Each detail landed inside the narrow window of human perception. Under pressure, staff defaulted to routine. Chips moved from table to cage in a blur, checked with a glance or a practiced flick of the thumb. Security protocols demanded vigilance, but the volume and pace of the casino floor left little room for doubt. A chip that matched the reference card, felt right in the hand, and sounded authentic didn't trigger alarms. This was precision exploited. Sensory fatigue set in fast. After a few hours, the difference between a real chip and a perfect fake vanished. Dealers worked by muscle memory. Tellers counted stacks by weight and rhythm, not forensic analysis. The system's greatest strength, human intuition, became its greatest weakness. The chips passed every inspection, not because staff were careless, but because the operation exploited the exact limits of human perception. The failure wasn't in the procedures, it was in the belief that the eye and hand could never be fooled. The next line of defense wasn't a sharper eye, it was a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet did not care about the legend of Las Vegas or the skill of a jeweler. It just counted. Every night, cage auditors ran their routine, tallying chips, comparing them to cash, and punching numbers into a reconciliation sheet. For years, the variance hovered inside predictable limits, a few chips here, a rounding error there. Then, in late summer, the numbers went sideways. A $45,000 gap surfaced and refused to close. The phrase that would echo through every legal filing was discovery, triggered by a routine cage audit chip discrepancy. Not a dramatic sting, not a tip-off from a sharp-eyed dealer. Just a line in a spreadsheet, blinking red. The protocol was mechanical. Any variance over 0.2% kicked the file to internal audit. The system flagged an abnormal spike in chip-to-cash conversions at a single dealer's window. The auditors double-checked the physical count, then pulled transaction logs for 3 weeks. The numbers did not add up. Chips were moving out faster than cash was coming in, and the discrepancy clustered around one station, one shift pattern. The chips themselves passed every manual check, weight, color, engraving, so the problem did not appear on the surface. But the spreadsheet did not lie. Escalation followed the workflow. The variance alert triggered a full review, then a call to the casino's security office. Within hours, the Nevada Gaming Control Board was on site, pulling logs and inventory records. The FBI joined the next morning. The secret that had slipped through hands and eyes for years was undone by a daily habit: reconcile, compare, escalate. The operation's fate was sealed not by drama, but by the cold logic of a variance threshold. As investigators mobilized, the story shifted from invisible crime to federal case. If you want more true crime stories where the smallest detail brings down the biggest operation, subscribe now. Federal prosecutors wasted no time. Keshishyan, known on the Strip as the Jeweler, faced a courtroom stripped of glamour and second chances. The indictment listed 2 charges with the weight of financial gravity: counterfeiting under Title 18 of the United States Code Section 471 and wire fraud under Title 18 of the United States Code Section 1343. 3. The government's sentencing memo laid out the damage in stark numbers: $3.2 million in fake chips, meticulously manufactured and laundered through the city's most guarded vaults. Each chip was a silent breach, each cash out a theft that slipped past human eyes and trusted hands. The evidence was technical and relentless. Forensic reports detailed the chip's perfect weight and gloss, the micro-engraved serials, the alloy composition matching the originals within a fraction of a percent. Prosecutors cataloged the tools seized from Keshishyan's workshop: a CNC mill, a laser engraver, and a digital scale calibrated to the milligram, each now ordered forfeited by the court. The restitution order matched the full loss: $3.2 million owed to the casinos, every dollar a reminder that the illusion of security had a price. Keshishyan listened as the judge read the sentence: 78 months in federal prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a lifetime ban from every licensed gaming floor in Nevada. No plea for leniency softened the numbers. The loss was not just financial. Prosecutors called it a threat to the integrity of Nevada's gaming industry, a crime that undermined the trust at the heart of every table. The jeweler's run was over. The doors closed behind him, and Las Vegas was left to count the cost. The shockwaves from Keshishyan's case hit Las Vegas faster than any cage audit ever could. Security chiefs, facing the reality that $3.2 million in perfect fakes had slipped through their hands, scrambled for a fix. Overnight, the old faith in human perception was out. In its place, a new arms race began, this time fought with microchips and radio waves. By the end of 2013, about 1 in 10 chips on the Strip carried an RFID tag. Within 2 years, that number had doubled. By 2019, more than 70% of casino chips in Nevada were RFID enabled, each one broadcasting a unique digital signature, tracked from table to cage and back again. The cost was staggering: tens of millions spent on hardware, software, and chip replacement. But the alternative was worse. Internal reports projected that without RFID, another Keshishyan could cost the industry hundreds of millions over a decade. The new system did not just scan chips at the cage. It logged every chip's journey, cross-referencing serials against a central database in real time. Cash-outs that once took minutes were now flagged and frozen in seconds if anything looked out of place. Security executives, some who had spent decades trusting their senses, now watched dashboards instead of chip trays. Consultants pointed to the numbers. Counterfeit losses dropped by 85%, and reconciliation times fell by nearly half. Still, the urgency was everywhere. The phrase inside the boardrooms was clear: RFID chip. Adoption had been accelerated by necessity, not by choice. The industry had learned its lesson, but the system was not perfect. Even as the new tech rolled out, gaps remained, and the race between counterfeiter and casino was far from over. If high-stakes heists and the technology that tries to stop them keep you hooked, subscribe for more stories where crime and innovation collide. Even with RFID tags now embedded in the majority of chips sliding across Las Vegas tables, the sense of safety is an illusion. Legacy chips, tens of thousands still circulating in low-stakes rooms and back tables, remain untouched by electronic eyes. These older tokens move through the system on trust alone, vulnerable to anyone with the right tools and patience. In the shadows, new threats are already adapting. RFID technology, once hailed as unbreakable, has its own soft spots. Engineers have demonstrated that a handheld jammer hidden in a jacket sleeve can block a chip's radio signal for just 160 milliseconds, the exact window needed to slip a counterfeit past an automated reader. In 2022, a single electrician with access to the casino's wiring managed to clone RFID tags and inject $47 million in fake chips into a European gaming circuit before the breach was detected. The chips matched every digital handshake, every security ping, until a pattern in the payout logs finally gave them away. Las Vegas casinos now run daily variance sweeps, AI-driven anomaly detection, and encrypted key rotations. But for every new safeguard, there is someone probing for the next blind spot. The arms race between counterfeiter and casino is never truly over. Somewhere, in a workshop or a server room, the next jeweler may already be at work, waiting for the perfect moment to test the system's limits. How many vulnerabilities remain hidden, and how many have already been quietly exploited? The answers may never surface until another routine audit finds a number that does not add up. In Las Vegas, every bet is supposed to have a safeguard. Yet one craftsman exposed how trust in the system can be the weakest link. Today, RFID chips are industry standard, but every new layer of security creates fresh ground for deception. The next breach won't look like the last, and the game keeps evolving in silence. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below.